Hi, this is Sleeper. Welcome back to my channel. We are going to walk through the Getting Started module from Hack the Box Academy. If you need access to Hack the Box Academy, you can sign up with the link below. Keep in mind, Hack the Box Academy and the main Hack the Box website will have two separate accounts that aren't linked together, and there are different plans available. I recommend the Silver Annual Plan as it gives you access to all the job role paths, all the modules up to Tier 2, and an exam voucher. Good for any of the Hack the Box certifications. So let's go ahead and get started with getting started. InfoSec Overview. Information security, InfoSec, is a vast field. The field has grown and evolved greatly in the last few years. It offers many specializations, including, but not limited to, network and infrastructure security, application security, security testing, systems auditing, business continuity planning, digital forensics, and incident detection and response. In a nutshell, InfoSec is the practice of protecting data from unauthorized access, changes, unlawful use, disruption, etc. InfoSec professionals also take actions to reduce the overall impact of any such incident. Data can be electronic or physical and tangible, for example, design blueprints, or intangible, knowledge. A common phrase that will come up many times in our InfoSec career is protecting the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data, or the CIA triad. Risk management process. Data protection must focus on efficient yet effective policy implementation without negatively affecting an organization's business operations and productivity. To achieve this, organizations must follow a process called the risk management process. This process involves the following 5 steps. Identifying the risk. Identifying risks the business is exposed to, such as legal, environmental, market, regulatory, and other types of risks. Analyze the risk. Analyzing the risk to determine their impact and probability. The risks should be mapped to the organization's various policies, procedures, and business processes. Evaluate the risk. Evaluating, ranking, and prioritizing risks, then the organization must decide to accept, unavoidable, avoid, change plans, control, mitigate, or transfer risk, ensure. Dealing with risk. Eliminating or containing the risks as best as possible. This is handled by interfacing directly with the stakeholders for the system or process that the risk is associated with. And monitoring risk. All risks must be constantly monitored. Risks should be constantly monitored for any situational changes that could change their impact score. For example, from low to medium or high impact. As mentioned previously, the core tenet of InfoSec is information assurance, or maintaining the CIA of data and making sure that it is not compromised in any way, shape, or form when an incident occurs. An incident could be a natural disaster, system malfunction, or security incident. Red team versus blue team. In InfoSec, we usually hear the terms red team and blue team. In the simplest terms, the red team plays the attacker's role, while the blue team plays the defender's part. Red teamers usually play an adversary role and breaking into the organization to identify any potential weaknesses real attackers may utilize to break the organization's defenses. The most common task on the red teaming side is penetration testing, social engineering, and other similar offensive techniques. On the other hand, the blue team makes up the majority of InfoSec jobs. It is responsible for strengthening the organization's defenses by analyzing the risks, coming up with policies, responding to threats and incidents, and effectively using security tools and other similar tasks. Role of penetration testers. A security assessor, network penetration tester, or web application penetration tester, red teamer, etc., helps an organization identify risks in its external and internal networks. These risks may include network or web application vulnerabilities, sensitive data exposure, misconfigurations, or issues that could lead to reputational harm. A good tester can work with a client to identify risks to their organization, provide information on how to reproduce these risks, and guidance on either mitigating or remediating the issues identified during testing. Assessments can take many forms, from a white box penetration test against all in-scope systems and applications to identify as many vulnerabilities as possible, to a phishing assessment to assess the risk or employees' security awareness, to a targeted red team assessment built around a scenario to emulate a real-world threat actor. We must understand the bigger picture of the risks of organization faces and its environment to evaluate and rate vulnerabilities discovered during testing accurately. A deep understanding of the risk management process is critical for anyone starting in information security. This module will focus on how to get started in InfoSec and penetration testing from a hands-on perspective, specifically selecting and navigating a pen test distro, learning about common technologies and essential tools, learning the levels and the basics of penetration testing, cracking our first box on Hack the Box, how to find and ask for help most effectively, common potential issues, and how to navigate the Hack the Box platform. While this module uses the Hack the Box platform and purposefully vulnerable machines are as examples, the fundamental skills showcased apply to any environment. Getting started with a pen test distro. Anyone looking to start a technical path in information security must become comfortable with a wide range of technologies and operating systems. As penetration testers, we must understand how to set up, maintain, and secure both Linux and Windows attack machines. Depending on the client environment or scope of the assessment, we may be using a Linux or Windows VM on our machine, our base operating system, a cloud Linux box, a VM installed within the client's environment, or even perform testing directly from a client-owned workstation to simulate an insider threat. Assume breach scenario. Choosing a distro. There are many Linux distros, for penetration testing. There are quite a few Debian-based pre-existing distros preloaded with many tools that we need to perform our assessments. Many of these tools are rarely required, and no distro contains every tool that we need to perform our assessments. As we learn and progress in our careers, we will gravitate to specific tools and have a list of must-haves to add to a new distro. As we progress, we may even prefer to fully customize our own pentesting VM from a Debian or Ubuntu base image. But building a fully custom VM is outside this module's scope. The choice of a distro is individual, and as mentioned, we can even choose to create and maintain our own from scratch. There are countless Linux distros out there that serve various purposes, some explicitly customized for penetration testing, others geared towards web application penetration testing, forensics, etc. This section will cover setting up and working with Parrot OS. This distro is used for the Pwn box that we will see throughout Academy, customized to practice and solve exercises throughout the various modules we will encounter. It is important to note that each penetration test or security assessment must be performed from a freshly installed VM to avoid including security-relevant details from another client environment in our reports by accident or retaining client-sensitive data for significant lengths of time. For this reason, we must have the ability to stand up quickly a new pen test machine and have processes in place, automation, scripts, detailed procedures, etc., for quickly setting up our distro of choice for each assessment we perform. Setting up a pen test distro. There are many ways to set up our local pen test distro. We can install it as our base operating system, though not recommended. Configure our workstation to dual boot, time consuming to switch back and forth between operating systems, or install using virtualization. There are quite a few options available to us. Hyper-V on Windows, as virtual machines on bare metal hypervisors such as Proxmox or VM ESXi, or free hypervisors such as VirtualBox or VMware Workstation Player, which can be installed and used as hypervisors on Windows and Linux operating systems. Another option is VM Workstation, which requires a paid license but offers many more features than the free options. A hypervisor is software that allows us to create and run virtual machines, VMs. It will enable us to use our host computer, desktop or laptop, to run multiple VMs by virtually sharing memory and processing resources. VMs on a hypervisor run isolated from the primary operating system, which offers a layer of isolation and protection between our production network and vulnerable networks such as Hack the Box, or when connecting to client environments from a VM through though VM breakout vulnerabilities do arise from time to time. Depending on the amount of resources our host system has, for example RAM, we can usually run a few VMs at once. It is often helpful to stand up a VM during an assessment to test out an exploit or attempt to recreate a target application and set up machines in a lab environment to test out the latest tools, exploits, and techniques. Everyone working in a technical information security role should be comfortable working with one or more hypervisors and building virtual machines competently for both work and practice. To be successful, we must continuously work to hone our craft. A great way is by setting up a home lab to attempt to reproduce vulnerabilities, set up vulnerable applications and services, see the effects of remediation recommendations, and have a safe place to practice new attacks, techniques, and exploits. We can build our lab on an old laptop or desktop, but preferably using a server to install a bare metal hypervisor. For our purposes, we will be using a modified version of Parrot Security, Pwnbox, available here to build a local virtual machine. We can choose two formats, the ISO optical disk image or the OVA open virtual app appliance. The ISO file is essentially just a CD-ROM that can be mounted within our hypervisor of choice to build the VM by installing the operating system ourselves. An ISO gives us more room for customization, for example, keyboard layout, locale, desktop environment switch, custom partitioning, etc., and therefore a more granular approach when setting up our attack VM. OVA. The OVA file is a pre-built virtual appliance that contains an OFV XML file that specifies the VM hardware settings and a VMDK, which is the virtual disk that the operating system is installed on. An OVA is pre-built and therefore can be rapidly deployed to get up and running quicker. Once up and running, we can begin exploring the operating system, becoming familiar with the tools, and performing any desired customizations. The Parrot Linux team maintains a variety of helpful documentation. What is Parrot installation and configuration? For other questions, the Parrot team maintains a forum. Practicing with Parrot. We will encounter Parrot Linux throughout Academy. The in-browser version, or Pwnbox, is available in any module sections which require interaction with a target host in our lab environment. Click the Start Instance button below and start becoming familiar with the Pwnbox. All interactive module sections can be completed from our own VM after either spawning a Docker image or spawning a target host or multiple hosts and downloading a VPN key. Using the Pwnbox is not a requirement, but is useful because all Academy work can be completed within our browser without requiring any virtualization software or additional resources to run a virtual machine. Docker instances can be accessed without requiring a separate VPN connection. Separate hosts, for example, Active Directory targets, require VPN access if not accessed from the Pwnbox. If this is the case, a button will appear to download a VPN key after spawning the target. We will begin working with the target hosts later in this module. So we'll go ahead and pause here and continue this in the next section. Once again, my name is Sleeper, and that's a wrap. Until next time. Hello, hackers. In addition to your learning through Hack the Box Academy, HackTheBox.com offers additional machines and challenges to test your skills. Like I mentioned, it is a separate account from the Academy side with different plans available. You can sign up with the second link below. I recommend the annual VIP Plus plan that gives you access to all the retired machines, which can help you prepare for the CPTS, PNPT, or OSCP. It also offers your own personal instance for boxes and unlimited time with the Pwnbox, which is the in-browser attacker machine. It's what I use for these videos, and it's so convenient. Other than that, good luck on your journey into information security, and here are some more videos to choose from.